Hey, what's up, guys? This is Adi from South Tree Nation, and today we're going to be talking about plant hormones. Okay, so now that you're back from the intro, I guess we can get started. So, plant... Ooh, this is way too thin. Okay. There it is. Plant hormones. Plant hormones. Okay, so basically, we're gonna talk about an experiment. And there's a couple of hormones that I need to talk about regarding plants, I guess, and what they do. So basically, I guess first we can start out with what a hormone actually is. So let's go ahead and start with that. What is a hormone? So what is a hormone? So basically, a hormone is a chemical signal. So let me write that down. Chemical. It's a chemical signal that will cause something to happen in a cell when it reaches it. And this can be from a cell taking in glucose in the bloodstream to changing the shape of the cell to whatever the hormone is going to make the cell do. So it's dependent on what the hormone is going to do. So for example, you wouldn't have the same response to thirst as you would to touching something really hot. It's based on the signal and what what the signal is supposed to do. And also it depends on the cell, but we'll get more with signaling and stuff like that when we actually talk about cell signaling and signal transduction pathways and stuff like that. All right, so first of all, we have to talk about this guy named whose last name is Went. He had an experiment actually. It's pretty neat experiment. And so basically what he did was he tried to test to see what controls what way a plant faces, so basically what you're seeing now is his experiment. I got a picture of it from online, but basically what happens is that he took out this, he found out that the top of the plant, if you take it out, like the plant will turn in the direction of the, it won't turn in the direction of the light. So basically what he did is he made a bunch of groups. So the control is, he didn't do anything to the plant. Everything is completely normal. And so as you can see, it actually turned towards the light. Now, when he removed the tip, it didn't turn anywhere. When he put a tip, he covered the tip with an opaque, I guess like a really dark thing, so like the tip wouldn't be subject to the light, and so it didn't tilt in the way of the light because it couldn't actually respond to the light being there. The other one he used a transparent one, and it actually turned so just like normal basically. The other one he put like he put the same like non-transparent, I guess like dark, opaque thing at the bottom to see if where actually it happened, and nothing happened, and he put it and it still didn't turn. So then he figured out that the hormone that was responsible is in the tip, obviously. So the hormone on the tip is obviously in the the hormone that's responsible is obviously there it is. The hormone responsible is obviously going to be in the tip. And so what else he realized was that basically he tried to take out the hormone. We're going to talk about what hormone it actually is, but he tried to take out the hormone. He tried to put in the hormone to see what would happen. And so the results he got were, if you took out the tip, it wouldn't turn. If you allowed the I guess the hormone to go throughout the plant, it actually turns. So that's what these two are. The white one, as you can see, it actually tilted, and that's because the hormone, which we're going to talk about, will actually go throughout the plant and cause the stem elongation in certain parts to make it tilt. The black one here actually didn't let the hormone go through, or whatever hormones to go through, and so it didn't turn. So then he figured out, oh, okay, the hormone's stored in the top, and it has to go to the bottom to actually make the plant tilt. Alright, so now what hormone is this actually called? Let's move back to where we were. There we are. Okay, so what is this hormone? So it's actually called auxin. Auxin is the hormone he was testing for. So basically what auxin is going to do is it's going to elongate, the certain cells. So basically how that's going to happen is how certain cells are going to have, an effect and the other cells aren't, is, basically by putting the... Actually, one second. One thing is, in the picture, they forgot to mention one part of the experiment. One, I guess, variable they didn't include, and one of them was he put auxin on one side of the plant and not the other side, and it actually turned to that side. So, if, for example, if we cut this in half, and we only had auxin on this side, it would turn to that side, facing away from the sun. And so, basically, that made him conclude, like, yeah, that's what's actually happening, and things like that. So let's see. Oh, I put that too far away. Oh well. So auxin it basically just promotes stem elongation. So it promotes stem elongation. Basically, it promotes stem elongation. Sorry. And so you can, as we go through this, you'll be able to tell, like, hey, there's a lot of stuff that's similar here. It promotes the same things basically. And yeah, you'd be right. A lot of these hormones do the same thing, but the I guess difference is that some hormones won't have an effect on some plants because the plants don't have the receptors for that hormone. And we'll talk more about that when we actually talk about, signal transduction pathways and things like that. All right, so the next one I'm going to be talking about is cytokinins. Cytokinins. Basically, what cytokinins are is it's a hormone. Like we're talking about hormones. So it is a hormone, and what it's gonna stimulate cell division. Stimulates cell division. It's going to stimulate cell division. That's an O. Okay. So it's going to stimulate cell division. So basically what it's going to do is it's going to like try to, this is basically what controls like the growth of the plant, things like that. And basically what else we're going to talk about with regarding these two is that basically the ratio of these, so the ratio of these two hormones in a cell is what determines what type of cell it is. So ratio determines what type of cell. Yeah, basically the ratio determines what type of cell it is. And this is how the cells will differentiate in the embryonic stage, things like that. Not the embryonic stage, but when the seed's growing and things like that. Okay, next one, gibberellins. Gibberellins. Okay, and so basically this does the same thing as both of those, and it's stem elongation and cell division. So what I believe they actually use this to make grapes bigger. So grapes are actually really, really small. So you'll have like a big clump of smaller grapes. But what farmers want, or what humans want, are bigger grapes. So they'll actually put this on the grapes and it'll make the grapes bigger. So that's what that's used for. Okay. And then abscisic acid. So abscisic acid is basically, it's a negative hormone. And what I mean by that is like it'll so basically the creation of this will stop something instead of start something. And so what it'll actually stop is the germination of a seed. Yeah, so the germination of a seed will stop because of this. And so basically, there's certain steps of germination, and one of them is, to take in water, things like that, and run out of food, or, make sure that the environment is good enough for germination to actually happen, things like that. And so abscisic acid will actually control that by not letting a lot of water in, things like that, and controlling that. So how it actually will cause how much water is coming in is by closing the stomata. So high concentrations, and this box means concentrations. So high concentrations of abscisic acid. I should just write it in the box actually. That would make more sense. Concentrations of abscisic acid. So high concentrations of abscisic acid will actually close the stomata. So it'll close. And the stomata is basically like a little pore that will open and close based on the amount of ions in there, and it's if it's turgid, it'll open it, and if it's basically we'll talk about that when we talk about plant transport in the upcoming videos. Okay, last one we have to talk about is ethylene. And so basically there's actually a use for this, but basically what it's gonna do is it's gonna cause fruit ripening. So causes So it's going to cause fruit ripening, right? And so basically what people can use this for is to, ripen fruits. And so they actually had, there were a group of farmers. There's like a story about ethylene. And so what they did was so one guy, he went up and he put a candle with ethylene burning in it next to, a bunch of apples or something like that. And so what he noticed was, hey, my apples ripened a lot faster, so I can sell them faster or something like that, right? And so all of the farmers started to do that. They used to put lanterns with ethylene in them, and the ethylene gas would actually go and ripen the fruit. But what they thought was, it was the light that was ripening the fruit. So basically when actual lights came out, electric lights, they would put those next to the fruit, and it wouldn't have any change on them. They're like, oh, why isn't this happening? It's supposed to happen, right? And then they realized, like, oh, it was actually the gas that was, ripening the fruit and not, the light. So then now we actually use this to ripen the fruits faster, so they can, so farmers and people can actually eat them faster and, sell them for profit, because, they, there's more chances of things happening while it's ripening. I don't know, but basically, yeah, that's about it. These are some of the main, I guess, hormones in plants. There's not many more. At least in AP Bio, there's some more, but they're not that important. These are the most important ones that you should know about. They'll ask a lot of questions about this, about these, if they ask about hormones in the first place. And so basically, here's the stuff that you need to know. You need to know what a hormone is, even for like human hormones and animal hormones and stuff like that. You'll need to know all of these, things like that. There's some things I didn't talk about, but those if you need to know them, you should know them, but they don't really ask that on the test. So you do need to know Wentz experiment. So that's how you spell that, Wentz experiment. And like, the different parts of it, basically. So I mean, it makes sense if you know what actually happened in the experiment. If you cut off the tip, nothing happens. If you leave it normal, something happens. If you put, if you cover the tip with something dark, nothing happens. If you cover the tip with something light and transparent, something happens, because it can actually respond to the light. It actually happens in the tip. And I'm just going down. If you don't block off the flow of oxygen down the plant, nothing happens. If you do block it off, however, something happens. If you cut the block in half and you block off one side but not the other side, the side that's not being blocked that's the side it's gonna turn towards. So if I were to block off this side, like in this one, it'll turn this way. Likewise, if I were to block off this side, it'll turn this way, just like it has, and things like that. But other than that, you should be okay with this. It's not too bad. There is some memorization, I guess, with these. But if you want to use, there's plenty of uses for all of these. As humans have developed uses for all of these hormones to get what they want from plants, and I think that would also help you learn about these and memorize them easier. So something to think about, I guess, with that. I don't know. For me, examples and how they're actually used help me memorize it a lot better. So yeah. All right, and that's about it. So again, if you haven't subscribed to my videos, my YouTube channel, go ahead and subscribe. I have a website I'll be posting this on too, so I would go and look at my website. I post a lot on there. That's why I haven't been posting that much on the YouTube channel as of now. I'm trying to get the website completely ready and things like that. But yeah, I guess I can leave you at that, and I will see you guys on the next one.